Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Front Page, only on the AIM Network, India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Hope everyone is doing wonderfully well. And we believe that the global business model just hit a wall at 200 miles per hour. From Anthropic's Super Bowl betrayal to the death of the billable hour in Indian IT. We are no longer in an era of speculation, yes, but that of execution. And if you are going to find out more, well, you will find out, because here are the headlines. Anthropic's $8 million Super Bowl betrayal spot sparks a nuclear feud with OpenAI. Sam Altman slams the authoritarian pivot as Claude 4.6 and GPT 5.3 trade blows for the future of AI trust. Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6 agents autonomously built a Linux-compatible C compiler in 2 weeks for $20,000, signaling a SaaSpocalypse as markets reprise global IT services and the billable hour model. Sarvam vision disrupts the global AI narrative, outperforming Gemini and GPT in 22 Indian languages. By digitizing messy, real-world paperwork, Sarvam is building India's sovereign infrastructure, unlocking knowledge locked in plain sight. And finally, consulting giant McKinsey redefines the workforce by counting 25,000 AI agents as employees. Is that a tongue-in-cheek remark? We will find out. While, of course, Indian IT majors pivot to digital labor billing models as human headcount growth hits record lows. Let us think about it. It is like having $8 million in your pocket and using it to buy a Super Bowl ad slot where you sell absolutely nothing. No shiny new apps, no revolutionary gizmos, nothing. Anthropic basically walked onto the world's biggest stage, just took a look at everyone and looked them in the eye and said, Claude will remain ad-free. That's the whole pitch. And yes, the irony is spectacularly delicious. It's a level of aggressive corporate minimalism that feels less like an advertisement and more like a high-budget hostage negotiation with the future of the internet. They didn't buy airtime. They bought a very expensive way to tell everyone else to stop being so desperate. Today on Front Page, Anthropic versus OpenAI, the ad war nobody expected. Why the real fight isn't ads, it's trust. If you are ready, let us begin. But first, of course, hit that button, share, and please subscribe, because that's the only way you stay ahead of the narrative. The ad opens with one word: betrayal. A man asks an AI chatbot for advice. The response starts thoughtful, empathetic, human. Then it derails. Suddenly, the advice becomes an ad, a cougar dating service, height-boosting insoles. The joke lands immediately. This is what happens, Anthropic is saying, when ads enter your AI conversation. They never say ChatGPT. They never say OpenAI. But honestly, they don't really need to. This was broadcast weeks after OpenAI confirmed the leak. Ads are coming to ChatGPT's free and lower tier plans. There was a big bold bullseye which was painted on the backs of, well, you know who, and the shot was fired, and how. AI chatbots aren't social networks. We use them to confess. We are handing over the keys to our health, bank accounts, our failing relationships, sometimes our dead-end careers. And honestly, just reading that list makes me want to go and lie down in a dark room. Anyway, but that's the point, isn't it? We aren't looking for a social feed. We're looking for a confidant. And the second you turn a digital confessional into a billboard, the trust doesn't just leave the room, it jumps out of the window. The incentive structure rots. Your AI stops working for you. It starts working for the highest bidder. That's the fear Anthropic weaponized. It's like the Black Mirror episode we are all living through. Sam Altman didn't stay silent though. He took the bait. First came the olive branch. He called the ads very funny. He admitted he laughed. Then, of course, came the counterpunch. Altman called the ads clearly dishonest. He swore OpenAI won't inject ads into the flow like that commercial. OpenAI's defense, ads will be labeled separate from answers, necessary to, of course, subsidize free access for the world. But then he got personal. He accused Anthropic of serving rich users with expensive products. He positioned OpenAI as the populist, the company for the billions. And then he used the word authoritarian, and Greg Brockman chimed in and piled on. He asked Anthropic if they'd commit to never selling user data. He called their blog post a dodge. Right time, maybe, you think, to call out who is in the red corner versus who is in the blue corner? But then, of course, Anthropic, it seems, was only warming up with the ads as they went on to emphasize capability. Enter Claude Opus 4.6. So if you thought this is a polished update, think again. It is actually a complete structural rebuild. Stronger agentic coding, longer autonomous tasks, and a million token context window, which is the first for Opus class models, by the way. The benchmarks are delivering a standing ovation. Top scores on Terminal Bench 2.0, beating GPT 5.2 on economically valuable work. So I guess Anthropic is saying we can be smarter and cleaner, but then OpenAI was not, of course, going to take this lying down. They responded with GPT 5.3 Codex. Codex is no longer just a coding body. It's actually a general agent, which does research, uses tools, and operates your entire computer. OpenAI even admitted something that's very frankly a little unsettling. Their latest system is actually training and debugging itself. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've officially reached the point where the snake is eating its own tail. Not disturbing at all. OpenAI also introduced Frontier, an enterprise platform to build, deploy, govern, and scale AI agents as co-workers. Frontier gives agents this: shared business context across systems, identities, permissions, and boundaries, onboarding, feedback loops, and memory, the ability to run inside real workflows, not just chat user interfaces. So if God-tier intelligence were actually right around the corner, why on earth are we talking about ads? That's the question. In a sprint to the finish line, one doesn't stop to optimize for clicks. One actually burns capital and trades money for time. One only starts checking the couch cushions for spare change when you realize the road is much longer than was promised. The hardest problem right now isn't actually smartness or intelligence. It's the staggering electricity bill. Simply put, it is about who can afford to keep the lights on. Two very different paths are actually starting to open up here. Anthropic is positioning itself as the very quiet, high-end library, if you may, where you can actually think, while OpenAI is turning it into a chaotic, neon-lit, digital Times Square. And yes, it is time to pick a side. Because at the end of the day, your data is the price, and everyone is trying to figure out how to put a price tag on your privacy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. Welcome to Front Page. So while everyone was distracted by the flashy Super Bowl ads, Anthropic was pulling off a stunt that should honestly have every software engineer checking their LinkedIn. They turned 16 Claude Opus 4.6 agents loose on a shared Rust code base and told them to build a C compiler from scratch. There were no human engineers and no hand-holding, just autonomous machines coordinating in real time. The result? A 100,000 line compiler that successfully handled the Linux 6.9 kernel. Honestly, it's actually that kind of thing that makes you want to quit your desk job and go work in a bakery, just to be sure that your co-workers are actually made of carbon. 16 agents, Claude Opus 4.6. They weren't asked to write a poem, no. They were told to build a C compiler from scratch. Linux compatible, Rust-based, systems-level engineering at the highest stakes. The result? 100,000 lines of code. It combined the Linux 6.9 kernel. It ran Doom. So basically, look, we've all kind of seen how impressive AI demonstrations, but this is the kind of thing that makes senior engineers stare into the middle distance and wonder if they should have actually been carpenters. It survived the kind of brutal torture tests that usually give lead developers a nervous breakdown. Now, of course, history says GCC took 37 years and thousands of elite humans to build. Anthropic's squad just did it in 14 days, ladies and gentlemen. And the price tag? $20,000 in API credits. Calling that a disruption feels like a massive understatement. That right there, you just witnessed execution. But you know what? Hang on. Because we need to talk about the human-free hype before everyone starts filing for unemployment. Anthropic claimed they mostly walked away during the process. But honestly, that one word is doing a massive amount of heavy lifting. The humans didn't actually just vanish from the room, no. The humans leveled up. They weren't typing syntax anymore, but were designing the arena, building the pipelines, breaking the loops when the agents got stuck on the same bug. We've, of course, just stopped being the ones manually tightening every single bolt and have started acting like the director on a movie set. The AI is doing the grunt work, sure, but it still needs someone with a pulse to tell it if the scene actually works. I hope my producer agrees with me. The skeptics love to say AI has hit a wall. They say it's just fancy autocomplete. Well, this compiler proves them wrong. One can't autocomplete a system-level tool for the Linux kernel. It actually requires long horizon planning, stateful memory, multi-agent coordination, which means forget the chatbot label, because that's for just checking the weather or arguing with a customer service bot. What we are actually witnessing is a factory. And of course, now let us follow the money. The markets didn't just stumble, they hit the panic button. We are talking about Indian IT services facing a total bloodbath. The kind of carnage we haven't seen since the 2020 crash. Why? Because the billable hour model is officially a corpse. So if 16 agents just did for $20,000 what used to require an entire floor of engineers and a 6-month lease, one wonders, right? At that point, where and what are we even selling? The age of outsourcing is dead. We are living under the law of the agent now. Having a very massive headcount used to be a gold standard, yes, at one point. Now it's just a very giant, expensive anchor. Brain power isn't the specialized luxury anymore. It's actually basically just the dial tone. You only notice it when it stops working. Anthropic, of course, is playing a completely different game than OpenAI. They're leaning hard into the ad-free promise, and honestly, it's not just about having a moral compass. They want you to actually trust the machine that's basically becoming the central nervous system of your entire company. If the AI is acting as the compiler, the operator, and the engineer all at once, then the incentives behind it have to be spotless. The media loves to label this as AI fear. But let's be real, this is a total business model rupture. The old guard is still busy arguing over the seating chart on a sinking ship. while the new guard has already hit the shore and started running. Well, we of course broke this down on front page earlier, the workforce impact if you remember, the margin collapse, the survival guide for the next 24 months. If you've missed it, don't worry, you can always go back. The road of course is being paved in real time. And you know what? The stop signals are nowhere to be seen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is front page on the AIM network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. And of course, the agents are watching. Welcome to Front Page. India just solved a technical hurdle that most of Silicon Valley walked away from because the complexity was a nightmare to manage. You know what? Forget those good enough translations that make everyone sound like a broken GPS. Yeah, you don't need to worry about that anymore. Because this is about finally reading India as it actually is. We aren't just talking about the polished English parts. We are talking about the gritty, real-world documents written in local languages. So I guess while Silicon Valley was waiting for the world to learn English, India just taught the machine how to actually listen to its people. Today, on front page, Sarvam Vision beats Gemini and GPT on Indic OCR across 22 Indian languages and changes the future of document intelligence in India. But of course, before we dive in, we have a request. Please hit that like button, share this, and subscribe. Now that you've done that, let's get on with it. In India, of course, AI has a massive bottleneck. The dusty government files, the handwritten land records, the long-winded bank forms, the things which actually, well, run the country. As far as global big tech is concerned, they built models for the clean digital West, which read English first. Everything else, well, it was an afterthought. More like a translation layer. But India doesn't live or thrive in translation. So ladies and gentlemen, now of course it is time to welcome Sarvam Vision, a 3 billion parameter workhorse built to read, understand, and structure data across 22 Indian languages. The so-called winners in San Francisco just got up a wake-up call. Sarvam didn't just play on English turf. They built their own battlefield, the Sarvam Indic OCR bench. Over 20,000 samples, every scheduled language, and the results, cold, hard numbers. Hindi, 95.91. Bengali, 92.61. Tamil, 93.42. Marathi, 93.13. Malayalam, 91.60. Even the tough ones, Santhali and Dogri, crossed the 80 mark. This is actually where Gemini and GPT start hallucinating, whereas Sarvam stays surgical. But you know what? We've had OCR since the 90s. But this is the document which is intelligence. It understands the visual logic of a page. Ever wonder about a complex table in a Marathi government gazette? Standard AI sees it as a crisscross of lines. Sarvam Vision sees cell hierarchies. It sees relationships, turning a scanned image into a usable spreadsheet. Also, of course, I'm excited to bring to light that things like captions in Kannada, done. Interpreting messy charts, check. Which means it is taking the chaos of Indian paperwork and turning it into clean digital gold. It's like actually handing the Indian bureaucracy a pair of high-tech X-ray spectacles, which is of course a daring move. You know why? Considering most of these offices have spent decades treating finding a document as a spiritual quest that requires 3 signatures, 4 tea breaks, and a literal act of God. To give you an example, Sarvam Vision's impact is already extending beyond benchmarks into cultural recovery at scale. Recently, Menlo Ventures partner D.D. Das demonstrated how Sarvam's OCR was used to resurrect a lost 1924 Hindi novel. I'm so sorry, I'm going to try to pronounce that name absolutely correctly. Baisween Sadi. Thank you to my producer. The 22nd Century by Rahul Sankriyatayan. A century-old work that eerily predicted concepts like video calling long before they existed. But before, of course, we get ahead of ourselves, we need to, of course, talk about the fact that is it perfect? The answer, no. Well, which is absolutely fine because they are being upfront about it. Sarvam isn't selling you a $1 trillion dream without the fine print. Bengali mistranslations still happen. Low resource instruction following can be shaky. But you know what? Here's the shift. It's already significantly better than any global model for our scripts. It's a shipping product. And for the developers watching, the APIs are free through February 2026. No excuses. Go ahead and build something. Sarvam is on an absolute tear right now. First, it was Sarvam Audio for our code mix chaotic speech. Now, it's vision, text, audio, vision. And of course, they are building the full ensemble for India's sovereign AI moment. Co-founder Pratyush Kumar is on a 2-week shipping spree. And the big one, Bulbul 3, is looming on the horizon. Wonderful. Later this month at the India AI Impact Summit 2026, we expect the flagship sovereign model. And of course, this goes beyond nationalism and taps into relevance. Because if an AI can't read a property deed in rural Bihar, is it really intelligent? And of course now for the front page take. So what is the big takeaway? While the world chases the next big chatbot, India is solving its hardest, least glamorous problems, digitizing the past to unlock the future. Sovereign AI is infrastructure, it's state capacity, and it's happening. We are watching the Indian AI stack come together in real time. And of course, we at Front Page are right here, embracing it and here for it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. Of course, right now we're going to take a short little break, and when we are back, we're going to be back with a fabulous conversation with our very own Mohit Pandey. Ad opens with one word. Sarvam stays. $1,700 GCCs. Yes, that's the present footprint in India of the global population of GCCs. 2.9 million people are gainfully employed in these global capability centers. $64.6 billion was generated in the fiscal year 2024. But the big target, that's 2030. 2,200 GCCs is what India wants to notch up to, employing more than 2.8 million people.
I wrote in my book that failures were in bold font for me and success was like default.
If you really want to control the narrative of life, you can do no wrong.
The people who focus on success and, sort of brush away failure, like a Virat Kohli is a great example.
Is doing a great job in bringing the GCC ecosystem together.
So you're adding a lot of value to the GCC ecosystem.
Oh, I had to take a beat and sit down to make sense of this amazing roller coaster ride that we've had at MachineCon 2025. We will catch you again at the next MachineCon. Welcome to Front Page. McKinsey's CEO Bob Sternfeld's latest tongue-in-cheek remarks stating that its headcount just did the unthinkable. They listed 25,000 AI agents as employees. It sounds like a very bad corporate joke, to be honest, but for the Indian IT industry, the punchline is a heart attack. For 30 years, the important barometer in this business was very simple. How many thousands of people can you cram into a campus? But that math just died a very, very violent death. When the top 5 Indian IT giants add only 17 human beings to their payroll in 9 months, while revenue keeps climbing, the game hasn't just changed, it's been deleted. We are witnessing the end of the body shop era for sure. We are moving from billing for human sweat to charging for digital labor by the bucket load. Whether you call them companions, agents, or digital co-workers, the reality still remains the same. The billable hour is a corpse, and the new law of the land is output at any cost. And of course, joining me today is Mohit Pandey, a very brilliant tech journalist who covers this very extensively. And Mohit will be shedding a lot of light on this because I believe, yes, the tremors are being felt and how. Welcome to Front Page. Mohit, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Sudhir, so much for having me again.
As always, it's a true pleasure. Mohit, first and foremost, I would like for you to please set the context for the viewers and the audience because this is genuinely something which is very scary.
So I think McKinsey CEO Bob, I think he was speaking about this, I think 2 to 3 weeks back. So he was talking about how we have now 65,000 employees.
Right.
And he jokingly added that 25,000 of them are AI agents.
I remember you mentioning it as well.
We have spoken about this
Yes.
before as well.
Yes.
And so, as you said, right, it's a very scary thing to look at if you are coming out of college, or even if you're a regular employee. If you see that half of the employees of a company are AI agents, are you going to get a job? Or do you have seats left? True. And we'll come to the Indian IT part later,
For
maybe.
sure, for sure.
But yeah, that's a very difficult thing for anyone to comprehend. But at the same time, this is something that is happening.
So first and foremost, before obviously, and you and I will definitely deep dive as far as, you know, the people who are just starting off their careers. We're going to talk about the Indian IT as well. But first and foremost, the first thing that I would like to ask you, Mohit, is the accountability gap. You know, so when there is a human, there is a clear understanding of an accountability factor.
Yeah.
There is a physicality to call it,
Yeah.
I mean, for a grossly, not a better term, but the physicality of a human being being there, there's an accountability, job, HR, everyone is involved. What do you do in this case? I mean, this is a digital agent.
Yeah.
And how do you handle it if a digital agent, because of its hallucination, causes a real world disaster?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things to unpack over there. Firstly, if we talk about the physicality part, right? One can imagine these AI agents as employees who are working from home.
Sure.
So, but now if you think about employees working from home, they're going to work 24/7 as well, because AI agents won't get tired. So I think that is one thing. And that is exactly how the CEO, Bob, is also talking about this, right? That it's all about boosting the productivity. And then if you talk about boosting the productivity, and I have earlier, just before this video, you were also talking about ads, right?
Yeah,
Anthropic has ads, ChatGPT has ads.
Correct.
What if AI agents are also...
Anthropic, by the way, Claude is saying we don't have
ads. So what if you're using something from ChatGPT and it also has ads? So one of your employees spewing ads in the middle, how would you feel about that? I mean,
completely gutted.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing. Oh, but yeah, so that is what is happening, right? So so the productivity boost, right? So Indian IT has when it comes to the Indian IT part, it has always been about billable hours, like the headcount growth and everything.
That's been the legacy.
Yeah.
Parameter.
And now if AI agents are coming into the picture, how do you build those things? Like if an AI agent can deliver something that was taking 1 week, 2 weeks, if 2 of the AI agents can do it in 2 hours, how do you bill a client for that? Are you going to bill it the same amount? True. Are you going to change that?
Very logical.
So that productivity boost is a very big trap, I think, that we are getting into as well.
But before we move on to the people who are just going to be starting in their careers, Mohit, we've faced this as humanity in the past as well, right? I mean, in terms of the productivity boost perspectives. That is genuinely an instinct that one has, that all right, wait a minute, if I'm doing it like this, I would like to do it better, and then way better, and then keep on improving and sharpening and honing the overall systems. But nothing ever, can you ever hark back and think of an example which you feel has caused this kind of a tremor or this kind of a anxiety or a panic?
I can't think of any example apart from the AI age that I can think of.
That's what?
Yeah, that's the productivity. The productivity conversation has been there ever since ChatGPT was launched, or even before that for the people who are in this field, right? And everyone was talking about how would it look like when AI agents enter the workforce. We've been talking about this since late 2023. And now that it's finally happening, it looks a little scary, and some people are trying to call it off. No, these are not employees. I would also say the same thing. These are not exactly employees. Do they have HR benefits? Do they also come under the labor laws as well, for example?
Yeah, that's a big one as well. Yeah, true.
So that is something that is too early to talk about as well. But I think...
but do you think there might be a framework which might have to be designed for sure? I feel, yes.
Definitely, I think so. Tech Mahindra CEO Mohit Joshi,
right,
he was talking about how he wants to differentiate between human labor and digital labor, because they are going into the same problem again, right? If a 2-week task
expand on that.
So he basically said that the task that we had, we were able to finish that, for example, in 2 hours. Do we now build the clients for the 2 hours, or are we going to build the clients for the number of headcount that we had assigned for this task?
Fair.
Because the productivity boost is there, but the same amount of spending, it's very hard to calculate. So I think it's a very good thing that Tech Mahindra has taken initiative for, because they could have been like, हम लोग तो जल्दी से काम कर लिए,
और हम लोग निकल गए, thank you so much.
Yeah, but they just want to build it differently now. They want a differentiation between digital labor and human labor.
But tell me this, Mohit, I mean, what does that do to, for example, the people who are already been in Tech Mahindra? Let's just take that as an example, for example, and expand on that. What happens to them? What is the reaction? Because yes, this sounds a little more sensitive maybe as an approach.
Yeah.
So do you feel that they will take this sensitive approach a little further?
I think so, yes. If you take example of Tech Mahindra specifically, this quarter they added employees. So if a company is able to add employees and boost productivity at the same time, go revenues at the same time, are able to maintain a profit margin, I mean, there's something good that is happening over there. Maybe the clients are paying more.
Yeah,
maybe they're able to
good
get
point.
more deals. And that is something that happened. They were able to get most large deals this quarter and small deals as well. So
And probably also there's something in their water which we don't know.
yeah, we don't know. Yeah. So yeah, the productivity boost is actually coming out like a positive thing for all these IT firms, at least for some IT firms. Some are letting go of a lot of people. So
Right.
that is one thing over there as well. But I was looking at your earlier video, right, the Anthropic one.
Correct.
And we always talk about lower level employees, right? AI is going to replace lower level jobs. But if you look at what Opus did, it is able to create a C compiler in just 2 weeks, right? So I think the bigger threat is to people who are on senior levels
As well now.
As well, not just the lower level.
And that is only
employees.
recently happened.
That
with
is only
this,
recently happened,
With
yeah.
this particular development which is taking place.
Yeah, so if all of the AI agents, for example, how McKinsey said 25,000 AI agents,
Yeah.
imagine if all of them are powered by Claude Opus.
Wow.
How would I mean, no one would have to work, or maybe everyone has to work more. We still have to figure out how that scenario looks when AI agents actually enter the workforce.
But of course, I mean, you and I have discussed this till the cows come home. We have discussed this in the past that, you know, the fact that what are the skills required and moving forward. And so I don't want to go into that discussion today because
Okay.
let's be honest, I think even the companies are very clear, to be honest, Mohit, that what is it that they're actually wanting from a new person coming in.
Yeah.
But I'll ask you a slightly different question from a more maybe human point of view. Somebody who's coming in, right? Now you have come in, but with these kind of developments taking place, those people who have worked very hard, they have certain dreams, unfortunately they're just not being able to achieve them. They're not getting the jobs,
Yes.
correct? So do you not think that at some level or the other, on a societal platform,
Yeah.
we are removing that ladder whatsoever, altogether? That lower rung platform in terms of where people learn life skills when they start their new jobs, they learn new experiences and that shapes them for their lives ahead. When
Yeah.
something like this is suddenly, you know, jolted, do you not
Yeah.
think that we're taking that away?
I think they're definitely taking that away. I can't speak on behalf of a techie.
Let's
but
say you and
yeah.
I have done work, we started early whenever we did, we learned, we fell, we got up, but those experiences have taught us and shaped us into who we are today.
Yeah. So I think I'll give you my personal example as well, okay? When I started writing, when I started journalism, there was nothing like ChatGPT where
Sure.
it could just finish my, for example, a news in inverted pyramid in just 2 minutes, okay?
Correct.
We used to write, we used to figure out what is happening, and during that writing process, we used to get a lot of questions. We used to ask why, how, and everything. Now it's just something that it generates. So this happened with me recently, that someone asked me what was that news exactly about? What was the name of that co-founder? And I couldn't recollect any of that. So that is I think that is the ladder maybe that you're talking about, the
Yes.
learning curve
Yes.
that is completely going to change, because if someone becomes a developer, someone enters into a firm, and they can just generate code from Claude Opus, they'll have to debug. Debugging is a different story altogether, but they didn't learn anything how to code. They didn't learn anything. So that ladder is like, yeah, completely gone.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Coming to the Indian IT,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a bloodbath as we've all obviously seen on the Lal Street. We've seen it happen. I mean, this has been the worst since the 2020 COVID
Yeah.
crisis. How do you see it? I mean, the billable hour, everyone seems to be going on about the fact that it's dead, it's finished, it's done and dusted, it's buried. Do you still see some kind of maybe a runway for it to carry on for some time? Because these are huge companies, Mohit,
Yeah.
that we're talking about. It's not like they're very flexible and nimble and suddenly can turn.
I think the runway is still, I think there is still 2-3 years left for this. But I saw a very interesting post on X today where the total size of all these IT firms combined is close to 300 billion, right?
Yeah.
And they have a total of 6 lakh, 7 lakh employees.
Correct.
The same valuation is of Anthropic, 300 billion something, and they have total of some 3,000, 6,000 employees.
22.5, $283 billion.
Yeah, it's close to 300 billion, 283
correct,
billion.
correct.
Yeah, and Anthropic also has the same valuation, approximately the same, and they have 100.
Indian IT is 32.5 billion. 22 point, sorry, 5 billion.
No, the total size of Indian IT.
Total size, okay,
yeah.
fair.
So that is like close to 300 billion in the Indian IT industry, and that is the same valuation as Anthropic has alone.
Okay.
But the size of their employees, the number of employees is like 100th, maybe less than that. So I think that is something that Indian IT might also eventually go towards, that they're going to have lesser teams or maybe more teams, but more employees as well. And I think that is something that I think Sridhar Vembu was also talking about, right? That the employees need to learn not just how to chat with AI agents, they need to learn how to manage them. So maybe that is something that will increase the size of these firms as well. Maybe they'll be able to take on more projects. So I think we are heading towards that path.
Okay, but you see it still having about 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years it is, because these agents are still maturing as well.
Sure.
And not everyone in Indian IT is also using Anthropic, Claude, Opus as
But that will accelerate, I'm
that
pretty
will
sure.
accelerate, yeah. But that is also very expensive for these firms.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
Mohit. That's a very
So
good point.
even if they eventually if that Indian firms are pushing more towards sovereignty.
So it's like a double-edged sword in a big way, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
In terms of the sheer impact on their pockets,
Yeah.
vis-a-vis the sheer amount of productivity, also the number of people who are looking at them blankly in their faces about the future of their lives.
But I think it's a double-edged sword as of now, because eventually the cost of all these AI things
Will come down.
Will come down. So maybe someday they would be cheaper than hiring employees.
Very quickly, I'd like to ask you this, and then of course we'll move on to the billable aspect, because the monetary impact is finally, I believe, every company's go-to. As far as this aspect is concerned, what do you feel will take place in the next 2 to 3 years though, Mohit? Since you've mentioned runway, all right, but what do you feel will happen?
I think as what is happening
From the employee point of view.
Employee point of view, I think most of them, as we discussed, like the new types of roles are coming in and new types of requirements are there for people getting into these firms. So they'll have to, again, this word upskill is going to come.
Correct.
But some of them will obviously, as we spoke about, the ladder is not there. They'll
Let's
feel
talk
like
about that 50-year-old gentleman who is in senior management, for example, right? Now he knows that, okay, wait a minute, man, I only have about 2 to 3 years to figure things out.
Yeah.
But maybe there are certain mental blocks, there are certain skill set lacking, or whatever you want to call it. What would you like to say to that gentleman?
I think when it comes to the Indian IT firms, it's always been like if you reach 40 years of age or maybe you're growing beyond 40, they eventually just stop caring about you in some sense.
Oh, wow.
Because, I mean, this is not me who's
No, but
saying
that's
it,
a very honest take.
Because
Thank you so much for
if
that,
you've
though.
been in one of these IT firms and you went through all this transformation, like there was big data, then there was cloud, and now AI is coming, you even don't have that skills. And if you don't upskill to those skills, you might, eventually you'll have to switch careers, or maybe it's a very scary thing to be a part of.
Okay, so now of course let's talk about the moral mirage, as you and I were discussing, which was, I thought that was very interesting, which is that how do you sell the digital force?
I mean, that is what
Sridhar Bambu, of course, I just was told that he has talked about alternative careers in the AI world.
Yeah.
You want to shed some light on that?
Yeah, exactly. How we exactly spoke about the 40-year-old person.
He's saying switch
the career, because if you have been a software engineer all this while, maybe in the future there are no jobs for you. So maybe that is what he's talking about. But not everyone agrees with him as well, maybe because everyone wants them to be a 10x software engineer. So everyone is, I mean, it's both the things at the same time. Like people are saying just move away from software engineering. Some are saying there would be so much more software in the future that everyone would be a software engineer.
It's a weird...
It's a weird thing that is going on.
Quandary, right?
Yeah. And these IT firms, when it comes to the billing part, as we said, that Tech Mahindra, for example, is talking about this.
Which is the moral mirage.
Moral mirage,
Which is, I just want to talk to you about this. How do you sell the digital force in terms of billing to a client? Because as you had mentioned earlier, the billing hours or that entire mathematics will change.
Yeah. So that is something that is still in very early stages. Tech Mahindra is also doing some pilot with, I think, Forrester. So that might take at least 1 or 2 quarters or maybe
Any other companies which you might know apart from Tech Mahindra?
I think LTI Mindtree also has onboarded some 1500 AI agents, and they're also trying to figure out how we can do this. So it's a wait and watch according to me.
Okay.
And apart from that, all these Infosys and Cognizant, they're all partnering with Devin.
Right.
So that AI software engineer part is also coming in. Maybe they'll have a lot of AI agents in the future. So everyone will eventually have to figure out how are we going to differentiate.
So it's a very liquid situation right now.
It's a very
no, Mohit?
liquid situation.
Nobody seems to understand in the industry how to go ahead and crack this.
Yeah.
Because they themselves are trying to adjust and balance
Yeah.
the sheer speed at which things are coming at them.
Yeah, and not just the pricing, right? Like the McKinsey's CEO talking about we have
25,000,
so many employees. It's a moral thing as well, not just about the pricing thing.
Yeah.
How would it impact the industry? How would the people feel who want to join the company? So I think yes, it's a very shady place.
Honestly, I personally felt that wasn't the greatest statement to make here.
Yeah,
Why do that?
yeah. I was talking to our HR earlier, and she also said that maybe if AI agents come into the workforce, they'll be able to do work better. But can we rely on them? That is the whole part.
That's a big one as well.
What if this electricity goes away and there are no AI agents?
Yeah, and the psychological safety aspect. What do you
Yeah.
have to say on that?
Yeah, it's like the safety part is, you can take example of the open claw thing that is happening right now. There are so many agents that are running autonomously doing the work for you. What if one of the agents just goes rogue and just leaks your
Yeah, I
data?
mean, imagine you're sitting next to an agent and working, etc. The psychological impact on you as a
Yeah.
flesh and blood human being.
Yeah, an AI agent is able to do more work than you while you're just sitting there. And so yeah,
So that brings up fear, that brings up anger, that brings up resentment, that brings up not the best of happy feelings.
I mean, in the end, in 3-4 years, everything would be happier, I think, if we just get... If they
Why?
just-
Because of the medication everyone will be on?
No, not because of the medication, because we'll just get adjusted to it. It's like, I'm just trying to be optimistic. Maybe you
Okay.
can be more optimistic apart from me.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mohit, before we wrap this up,
Yeah.
as always, as you know, the tradition on front page,
Yeah.
your golden pearls of wisdom will need to drop as the front page take.
Okay. So I think calling AI agents as employees is too early of a thing, but that is something that is going to happen very soon. And my advice to everyone who's going to join all these firms is that just upskill yourself. And the firms that are calling themselves their AI agents as employees, I think you just need to relook at that again a little bit, because along with it comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of legal trouble as well, maybe in the future.
No, fair point. Thank you so much, Mohit. As always, it's been
Thank
a
you
true
so much.
pleasure. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mohit making some very valid points. And of course, I believe calling them employees was also a message to our HR. Yes. All right. So, well, this is front page, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe the final understanding is the golden mantra is to upskill. Please like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, think AI. Let's not feel fear. Think AI am.